If you just bought yourself the Bob Ross kit, or perhaps you got it as a gift, I want to give you some tips on how to get the most out of this kit before you start painting, while you're painting, and how to take care of the kit when you're all done so you're ready for the next time when you paint. Now let's just assume you've already opened up the kit and you've checked to make sure everything's there and not broken. The first thing I want you to do is a brush check. Take your paintbrushes and your hand and start working the bristles back and forth. Rotate the brush. What this is going to do is it's going to get the loose hairs out of the brush so they fall out now rather than on your painting later, which can be a headache for a lot of painters out there. I also like to take my fingers and grab where the metal part is and do a slight pinch and pull towards the end. And this will also get a lot of the loose bristles out if it didn't adhere well to the metal ferrule or the glue that's inside. This is actually a really good tip. Tip number 2 is we want to also do an oil check. Now, depending on where you bought your kit, it could have been sitting in a warehouse for days, weeks, months, or even years, which means the oil paint can separate just like you see here. The binder can separate from the pigment, and we don't want that. What you want to do is you want to mix these back together. Now, when it comes to the paint that's in these tubes here, what you want to do is just move the paint tube up and down and pinch it and kind of knead the paint a little bit to get the paint to mix a little bit better inside the tube. When you squirt it out, yes, there will be a little bit of oil on top, but that's okay. Just mix it with your palette knife and everything will be fine, but it'll have a better consistency throughout the tube. When it comes to the liquid white here, all you got to do is hold it firmly and give it a good shake. I'll do a close-up here on camera so you can see. Should be a nice creamy white texture all the way through. There should be never any separation within your paints. If there is, just make sure you mix it together on your mixing palette with your palette knife or knead the tube like I showed you. And hopefully it goes without saying, you don't have to manhandle or gorilla hands the tubes. Just give them a nice light massaging and turn the tube upside down and rotate it. If you squeeze too hard, the crimping will come undone and the paint will squirt out, or the cap will come undone and it will squirt out the top, and you will have just wasted a lot of paint and money. Now, I've taught a lot of brand new painters, and the one thing brand new painters all have in common is they're gonna get messy. So I recommend you have a tablecloth or spare towels that you can put underneath your painting of where you'll be doing it. And please make sure you wear old clothes that you don't care about. I don't care how diligent you are, you will get paint on your hands and your clothes and it can ruin them, so take precautions. Now, you're probably gonna use a cheap canvas just like this, and they work fantastic for brand new painters out there. However, cheap canvases have cheap gesso applications on them, and gesso allows the paint to kind of sit more on top of the canvas rather than soak in. And so I recommend, if you can, you don't need it, but it helps a lot, getting a cheap bottle of white gesso that you first apply on top of your cheap canvas. When you do this, the paint will sit more on top of the canvas, allowing you to blend into a buttery, velvety, smooth consistency for all your colors to mix into awesome and beautiful gradients. If you want to get the most out of this kit, sometimes you got to be a frugal painter when it comes to the oil colors that come with it, which basically translates to only squirt out what you need when you need it. Too many brand new painters squirt out a ton of paint on their mixing palette. You're not going to get that paint back into the tube, which basically means you just wasted money. Only squirt out what you need when you need it, because you can always squirt down more on your mixing palette when you need more for when the time calls for it. It's worth repeating, I don't think a lot of new painters realize that oil paint spreads extremely far on a canvas, especially when you do wet on wet. A little baby drop of color can go really far. One of the most important tips you're going to get out of this video, if you're starting to paint or you want to paint with Bob Ross and use this kit, is make sure that you please pick a simple Bob Ross tutorial. It'll make a huge difference. Now, the tutorial that comes in the instructional starter booklet here isn't bad. In fact, it's got a lot of really good instructions and high resolution photos that really help you out. However, there's a lot of elements in this painting, and I've helped a lot of brand new painters try this, and they get close, but not close enough to make them happy. What I actually recommend is take a look at the video in the top right corner, where I go over the top 10 Bob Ross paintings that are easy to do. Those are a great starting point. Or, as always, I'm gonna bump some of my own, which are extremely easy to do, because you wanna build confidence when you're doing painting. If you try too hard of a painting right out of the gate, it's just a recipe for disaster, and you're never gonna try using the painting kit again, and I don't want that. So please make sure that you find a simple tutorial. Now, in addition to the simple tutorial, you need to make sure that you also slow down when you're painting. Just because you see a YouTuber or Bob Ross do it within 30 minutes or an hour, you do not have to mimic that. You can take hours, even days, or even weeks. You can always re-wet the painting or come back to it. Go slow, because trust me, you'll enjoy it a lot more, because you'll start to see you building actual elements and confidence, and things will start to click, and you'll have a way better time. Trust me. If you want to get the most out of your kit, you really need to take care of your kit, which basically means once you're done painting for the day, you need to clean up right away. Make sure you wipe up all the oil so it doesn't get over your clothes or all over your house, and you need to clean up your paintbrushes. Now, since we're talking about paintbrushes, just to let you know, this is how your paintbrush will look exactly how it comes out of your brand new Bob Ross painting kit, and this is how it's gonna look after one use. It's gonna change color and it's gonna fade, and you know what? That's perfectly fine. You didn't ruin the brush. That's just what happens when you paint with really strong pigments like blue, red, browns, blacks, and greens. It just dies over time. You just want to make sure you clean up your brushes right away, right when you're done painting for the day. Use odorless mineral spirits or thinner, anything that's good for you in a well-ventilated room, and make sure you get out all the pigment. Now, if you've ever watched my channel before, I'm a huge advocate for the Master Brush Cleaner and Preserver. Clean this up first with odorless thinner or mineral spirits, then go into this and it'll get all the excess color out. But more importantly, it's going to clean and preserve the paintbrush for next time, making your brushes last super long. And that's gonna save you money in the long run. If you wanna learn more about the Master Brush Cleaner and Preserver, I did a video on it, but I'll also put a link down in the video description below if you wanna pick up a tub. All right, you've got yourself a decent looking painting. It's always best to set the bar a little low when you do your first painting, and you've cleaned up all of your painting supplies. What do you do with your painting? Well, I recommend you want to hang it somewhere where no cats or fur babies can get to it, dandruff, debris, or any type of lint will land on the painting. This will remain wet depending on your environment, generally anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks before it cures up and dries enough for you to hang it somewhere or eventually varnish coat it later. Now, if you have an easel, which you can see kind of off to my side here, just leave it on the easel and tilt it down so that way none of the debris or lint can fall on it. If you don't have an easel, just take a simple nail and put it in your drywall and just let it hang on the back of the crossbar here, and that'll work perfectly fine. But basically, when you're all done, don't touch the painting for 2 to 4 weeks. Want to give you a bonus tip here on how to get the most out of your Bob Ross paint set, or how to get the most out of your brand new painting adventures that you're on. And that is document the process with high quality photos and share those photos on the Happy Trees Reddit thread. The Happy Trees Reddit thread is a great community of fellow artists that paint along with Bob or paint in the wet and wet style. And when you post your creations there, it's a great spot to get feedback or criticisms or advice on things you may struggle with, or discover brand new tips that's gonna make you a better painter. I'm on there all the time and I love to help fellow artists out or just look at where other people are in their journey. I'll do you a favor and put a link down in the video description below. And while you're down there, you might as well hit like and subscribe on this video to help me out. Now, if you want more help or advice with your paintings and you need that one-on-one touch, well, that's what we do on this channel with our live streams. And we do that for YouTube channel members. So consider becoming one, also down below this video player here. The real success when using the Bob Ross Master Kit or painting along with Bob is picking that simple tutorial, which is why I'm gonna put that video over to my side. But if you already painted along with Bob and you got a couple of paintings underneath your belt, then I recommend you take a look at the top 10 hardest Bob Ross paintings to give yourself a challenge. My name is Wild, wishing you the best luck on your brand new Bob Ross Master Kit, and I really wish you good luck on that brand new first painting. Peace.